everybody, welcome back to the Coffee Breath Podcast. My name is Taylor. Hope that you are doing well. If you were wondering where I was last week, because I did not upload last Sunday, just sometimes you get sad or things happen, or your thoughts just really start to get to you, and then you start to just question a lot of things in your life, especially during this quarantine. I'm unemployed. I'm doing hobbies and I'm still like living my life and stuff, but I don't feel as important, I guess, because I don't have a job, if that makes sense. Because it makes you feel like, you're doing something with your life, or you're giving purpose to something, or, you're of service to someone, or, something. But then I also have to remember that, our society has just kind of brainwashed us to think that if you are not being productive, then like you're a piece of shit, kind of, in a different phrasing of it all. But I have to try not to be so hard on myself, because I really have lately. I've been so hard on myself, which really only leads me to being hard on others, especially the ones that I love. I've been noticing, just 2020 is kind of, it's like crumbling blue cheese, it's kind of moldy, it's stinky. It makes people, have irritable bowel syndrome. Maybe it makes people have some sort of allergic reaction, lactose intolerance or something like that. That's how 2020 feels like an old block of crumbling blue cheese. And don't get me wrong, like I'm a huge blue cheese lover. I'm trying not to eat cheese anymore. Trying to do my best to not spread harm out into the world. But yeah, it's stinky, it's moldy. It makes me, have to run to the bathroom. It makes my skin break out, and that's 2020. So, I took a week off. And because I don't have anybody to share, to converse with on this podcast. So if it's literally just me talking to you and I don't have anything to say, or like I can't even like show up for myself, I can't show up for you. I used to be the queen of being able to like play possum, like put on a front. And now the older that I get, and maybe the more just that I'm like unraveling mentally and emotionally, oh shoot, see, my brain always does this. I get to thinking about something and then it's just like, oh poof, it's just gone. Oh, being able to put on a front. Yeah, I used to be able to do that all the time, and now I'm so bad at it. And in my resting bitch face, that's a whole other story. But normally I'm just thinking about something in my own brain, I'm always just kind of like thinking or talking or like singing to myself, or like reminiscing over memories of like, oh, remember in 6th grade when that like girl stole your pen and you got, you didn't stand up for yourself, or something stupid like that kept me up at night for like weeks on end. So yeah, I'm not the best at putting up a front anymore. So when I need to take a break, I take a break, or else watch out, like bitch Taylor is coming through, and that's me putting it politely and nicely about myself. I could say a lot worse, but then also like you can't really talk badly about yourself, because then that just continues that unhealthy toxic cycle of like self-hatred and just that unwinding spiral down. So within that week, I had a lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings, then, a lot of numbness as well. Like it goes through stages. And then I got to thinking about like just a lot of existential questions, I guess. And then that got me thinking. So I pulled up, if you're like, well, Taylor, what is existentialism? Well, I looked it up for you. So Wikipedia says that it's a tradition of philosophical inquiry that explores the nature of existence by emphasizing experience of the human subject, not merely the thinking subject, but the acting, feeling, living human individual. In the view of the existentialist, the individual starting point is characterized by what has been called the existential angst. I feel that. Or variably existential attitude, dread, etc. Or a sense of disorientation, confusion, or anxiety in the face of an apparently meaningless or absurd world. And that's kind of how I feel. Like, I don't want to necessarily label myself like I'm an atheist or I'm I'm definitely not a Buddhist, because I could be doing a lot better in that realm. But, I don't want to be like, well, I'm an existentialist, or, I don't want to label, like, I don't put labels on things. But when I read that, I'm like, I feel like I have just this like angst against the way that the world is. And you're probably thinking, duh, all of us are feeling that way, Taylor, especially in this climate of 2020. But it's been, I feel like I've become like the counter Karen. I know, it's terrifying, and it's been a hard pill to swallow. And not that I'm like being recorded, like yelling at people in Target or anything like that. No, I wouldn't fucking do that. But when I'm out, say I'm at Target and I see people not wearing masks, I'm just like, I ball my hands in a fist, and I get all sweaty, and I just want to be like, put your fucking mask on. But, my mom's like, everyone is entitled and it's like their rights and whatever. And I'm like, no, but this is, oh my God, like, nobody understand that if we just all followed the guidelines, like, nobody's trying to take away your freedom. And if you think that putting a mask on you is trying to take away your freedom, bitch, they've been doing this since day one with other shit. And also a vaccine. Can we talk about this for a moment? A vaccine. I mean, I don't want to be like, oh, well, it's all good and dandy, because there's probably, shit. Like, I don't know. That's a whole argument that I am not ever wanting to get into, because I would definitely vaccinate my children. But then sometimes I'm just like, I don't even want to have kids, because no matter what you do, you're doomed, But like, if people are like, with the coronavirus vaccine coming out, they're going to put a microchip in us, and they're going to track our data, or they're going to control us. You think you have a smartphone in your pocket, on your person most of the time. That is tracking you. It's listening to everything that you say. Like, are we really having this conversation? But let's not have this conversation, because this is what happens. See, I get all heated, and then I like become the counter Karen. And if for some reason you're like, what, Taylor, what is a Karen? The Karen is the person in Walmart screaming, belligerently screaming at employees for the employees just doing their jobs, following and, putting policies, into place, and then people film it. Or then you also have the Karens that are like the racial Karen, like these women in the park and shit, yelling at a woman for like taking up space, and for like, I think she was an Asian woman. She was just stretching on the stairs, and there were other stairs. So, there's that whole thing. So I'm definitely not a fucking Karen. I am on the total opposite end of this, I'm across that line. But I feel like I've just become the counter Karen. And I just want to be like, why aren't you wearing a mask? Or like, why are you going to parties? Or like, why are you opening schools back up? So I really have to watch what I'm doing and what I'm saying, and, my actions and stuff. Because is anybody fucking listening to me? No. It should be coming from our leadership, but we've obviously seen that we don't have leadership. So, but existentialism, getting back to that. So I started thinking about, some questions. So I have a few of them pulled up here, if I can find them. They are right here. Okay, so to get a better grasp of how existentialism looks at life, here are examples of existential questions. So the first, who am I? I'm Taylor. I'm what I consider I'm a female. I'm a yoga teacher. I'm a podcaster. I have a YouTube, like I'm a YouTuber. I'm a daughter. I'm a girlfriend. I'm a friend. I'm a niece, granddaughter. Like, so there's those aspects to me. But I guess I could also get a little deeper of like, oh, I'm creative. I'm talented. You go deeper like that. What is my real nature or identity? So I guess yeah, I feel like that's what I just answered, to go deeper, because I feel like the first question you could just say, oh, I'm like a daughter, or I'm a female, I'm a 31-year-old female. But then, being someone's daughter, that's not an identity. Being someone's girlfriend, that's not an identity. It should definitely not be an identity. Dating, that's not your identity. I did that for many years. Don't do that. You will lose yourself. And when you lose yourself, you got to check yourself before you wreck yourself, Third question. What is the meaning of life? Okay. Let me try to answer that question. That's hard. I heard, okay, there was this brilliant show, if you've not watched it. It was an HBO show called 6 Feet Under. So beautiful, dark, like dark humor, but that's just, what I'm into. But so they ran a funeral home, so it was always talking about like death, but there was always like some message, behind it. And I remember one character asked the question, why do we die? And Nate, who was, the head of the funeral home, he just answered with, so if the question was, why do we die? He answered, to make life worth living. And I was like, yeah, that. I mean, I don't know what the fucking point is. I don't have concrete evidence, but that makes sense. To make it worth living. If I could live forever, I feel like I would get over that shit real fast, especially because I'm deal with like anxiety and depression. So I'm already on that struggle of like, I don't want to be here, but like I'm staying. I'm working on it. I'm gonna do my best every day. So if I had to live forever, fuck that. No, no, thank you. So I guess the meaning of life for me in this moment personally would just to be happy and just to have as many joyful experiences as I can, but I also know that I have to have painful experiences to grow as well. Now, I'm not trying to be like, well, you have to go through trauma and pain and, somebody has to do you wrong in order for you to have growth. But I don't know. I have all these books that say like, the lotus starts in the mud, in the dark, mucky waters, and it has to slowly grow up to the light. And I feel like that's kind of like life, whatever that means. So then what is the meaning of existence? Well, isn't that kind of the same question? What's the meaning of life? I guess, okay, the meaning of life is to like grow and evolve, because life means that it's living. So like a plant, an organism. So to evolve, to keep surviving. So survival is the meaning of life. And then the meaning of existence could be more of that, like, to have experiences and to feel pleasure, to feel pain, to feel sorrow, to feel forgiveness, like all of those different like emotions. Something that we all go through. Like we all know somebody that died. Like everyone dies. We all know somebody who's born. And that's just like that kind of circle of life. And then the next question, what is my greater purpose? Ooh. Well, the yogis, or at least a story that I know of the yogis, is the purpose, or like the life purpose of a human being is to save. So there's, oh God, I hope I don't butcher this, but it's from the Upanishads, an old text, like yogi text from India. And the story goes, a wise sage is sitting beside the Ganges, and he looks down into the water, and he sees a scorpion thrashing about, and it's trying to, not drown. So he takes his hand, he scoops down into the water, scoops up the scorpion, sets him off, and then the scorpion stings him. And then he goes, he's like, ouch, or whatever. And then he just kind of sits, and maybe he's meditating or like whatever. He's like in contemplation. And then, so a few moments go by, and then he hears something. He hears a noise, and he looks down again, and it's that same scorpion in the water again, thrashing around. So then he takes his hand, scoops down, saves him, gets stung again. So this happens a couple of times, and a passerby, like one of his disciples, if that's what they're called, or one of his students, he's like, why sage? Why do you keep saving that scorpion when all the scorpion's going to do is just sting you every time? And then the sage says, well, it's the dharma, it's the life purpose of a scorpion to sting. They have the stinger for a reason. So it's the life purpose of the scorpion to sting, but it's the dharma, it's the life purpose of a human being to save. And every time I say that, I always get like chills, and like I get a little like teary-eyed. And at least that's what I feel like my life purpose is. Everyone's can be different, Oh, well, hopefully nobody's is to go the opposite route and to be like, no, I'm not going to save. But, somebody else's life purpose could be to invent, a new form of technology. But then again, maybe everything that we do, everything that we invent is for like our survival, kind of, and to save, like medicine that was invented to save. So, or like if you think about going into space, trying to find another planet because we can't take care of our own, or we just want to go explore, that's still on the same page as trying to save us. So maybe that is the purpose of life. And then what is death? And I feel like I said that earlier with the 6 feet under story is, I feel like the purpose of dying is so that way we make life worth living. Or else, like, what's the fucking point? Because the point is not to get up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, watch your favorite TV show, go to bed, wake up, do the same fucking shit. And then on the weekend, you might go traveling, or you might like go out to dinner, like who knows? And you might make that special. So then you're kind of living for the weekend. And I understand that that's so much easier said than done. I'm not saying like, hey, everyone needs to just quit their jobs and like do whatever they love. In a perfect world, in an ideal world, yeah, that would be great if we could all just do what we love to do. But then I feel like there's a lot of people who don't know what they want to do. They were never really asked those questions or even thought of those questions themselves. And a lot of the times it is just for survival. People get into jobs because, they got bills to pay, they got mouths to feed, and life is beautifully chaotic. It really, really is. Okay, let's go down. There's one that's like, is there a God? And I don't, because who knows? I don't know. You don't know. There's people who are like, no, I know for a fact. I know. And I'm like, who can really know? Because honestly, if I was to go into like a town square, town hall or whatever, where like a bunch of people are, and I just start spewing about like, God came to me last night and he told me that we all need to build an ark, everyone would look at me and be like, bitch, are you taking your medication? Are you going like to therapy? Do we need to get you into a ward? Like, what is going on? They would just label me as a mad woman, right? But when he did that back then, everyone's like, oh my God, let's write it down in the Bible. But I don't want to shit on anybody, because whatever you think gives, whatever brings you faith and like hope, I think that's important. But the whole judgmental side and like, oh, well, the Bible says that people shouldn't be gay or whatever. It's like, no, fuck you. Fuck you. Isn't the whole thing is Jesus hung out with lepers, or like he tried to help them, or, he hung out with what they say is a prostitute, but I don't think she was a prostitute. I think what is her name? Mary Magdalene. I think that she was just maybe Jesus's wife or like girlfriend, maybe. Like, are you telling me that Jesus didn't like get laid? Maybe he didn't. I don't know. Maybe he took more of like the celibacy route. Maybe he was too busy, healing blind people. I don't know. But who knows if there's a God? But I believe I have to think that there's a higher power out there. Because again, as somebody that I've lived with my depression since I can remember. And if I don't believe that there's like magic in the world, then my whole thing is like, what's the fucking point? Because all I see is so much terror and destruction. I mean, not to go like, the world is so shitty and there's nothing good. Like, of course there's good, of course. But I don't know. I'm just a fragile little sensitive snowflake or whatever. Maybe we'll leave. Okay, because these are some good questions. But I feel like let's do a part 2 of existential talk. Because honestly, I want more time to get into this topic. And I don't want to make you sit here for 60 minutes in one sitting. I feel like I'm the type of person where I can sit and watch 8 hours of a TV show or like a series, like a Netflix series. But my brain is like, I can't sit through a 2-hour movie. But I can sit there for 8 hours and watch the same show. But if I just feel like it, my brain needs a little bit quicker pace or something like that. And, with the way that the world is, everybody's kind of like that. We're all like fast paced, go, go, go. Make everything fast. TikTok's like 7 seconds, 15 seconds. I think Vine was 7 seconds. Instagram's like a minute. Or no, you can do like IGTV. But who knows? TikTok could be done. Who knows where that's going? Because who knows what our Cheeto of a president, honestly. No, I'm not gonna talk about him. I'm not gonna talk about him because he gets me so riled up. Because when you watch that last interview, and I'm like, people think that this guy is like a godsend. And I don't understand. It makes no sense to me, and it makes me really sad. But let's get us into some tarot. Tarot time. Tarot time with Taylor. We'll make that a hashtag. Oh, also, this is a perfect time for me to plug my YouTube channel, because I don't think I've done that on this channel or on this podcast. So I have a YouTube channel that I always post. I always post a link in the description of this podcast. But yeah, you should check it out. Taylor Rachel. I do weird stuff over there. Not necessarily that weird. I post every so often. I'm trying to be better about it. But all right, let's ask the question. What do I need to see? What do I need to see in this existential time? Oops. I didn't break. I have to redo that. All right. So I'm cutting the deck into 3, putting it back into one pile, and now I will pick the card. And that's 3 of Wands. Ooh. Okay, so I have my handy dandy little guidebook. And we have the 3 of Wands. Envisioning the future. The Three of Wands indicates you've had continued support from others, perhaps from your parents or two good friends. With their help, you've formed a sense of self, of your values and morals. But now it's time to rely on yourself for guidance, clarify your goals, and cast others' needs and opinions aside. The future is infinite, and it is yours. No one else can see through its layers of light and shadow. And that's good. You have to clarify your goals, because if you don't know what you want, how are you expecting? It's like driving in a car. Yeah, you can just drive around town aimlessly, and sometimes that's fun. Get a good playlist going, and enjoy yourself. But if you're like, okay, well, I need to get to Target. Target's popping up a lot. Maybe I need to go to Target and spend a bunch of money that I don't have. But say you need to get to Target and you're like, well, I don't fucking know where Target is. Maybe you have to drive to the next town over. So what, are you just going to get in your car and just start driving? Yeah, you can do that. You might end up finding it within the, recommended amount of time, or maybe it might take you 2 extra hours to find it. And it's a huge inconvenience, and you drive all around and it's a waste of gas. So think about that, with your life. Try to think about your goals. Try to think about what you want. Try to clarify them. Like, make a little list. I have lists all over, and they're always changing. And then some stay the same. Some of my goals have been on my list for a couple of years, and some, I get to check off because I've made them happen. But yeah, you need to know the direction, at least the direction that you're going in. Who knows? Once you get to Target, maybe you're like, well, you know what? They didn't have those shoes that I wanted at Target. I'm going to go to the Nike store. Now I got to find the Nike store. So it's always, a journey and stepping stones and like that. So ask guidance from others, but at the end of the day, it all comes back to yourself. Look deep within yourself. Sit, do a meditation. I know I'm always saying that. Can everybody please meditate? Because it makes you feel so good. And if we can all feel good, then maybe, we'll all feel good. And that can make the world a little bit more enjoyable to live in. All right, but that's about it for today. We talked a little bit about existentialism. There we go. I finally fucked it up. I really thought that I was going to mess this word up a bunch, and I didn't until now. Existentialism. I think it's always good to question. Always keep questioning. And maybe, have a nice cup of coffee and question in the morning or in midday. Try not to do that at night. Try not to drink coffee at night. Or maybe it's a glass of red wine or a beer, or, you take a hit and then you're like, I want to think about like, what is life? What are these questions, that we really don't know the answers to, but they are just really thought provoking. So sit with that, and I will see you in the next one. Oh, if you would like to, like, comment, subscribe, follow. This is on Spotify, it's on Anchor, it's on YouTube, it's on a couple other platforms. I'm trying to get on iTunes, so that will be soon. But, show me some love and give me some feedback. I know sometimes it sucks, when I speak, but I'm always trying to get better, and I'm just trying to enjoy the ride. So, again, I will see you in the next one. Bye.